podcast. Take two. Action.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tickle Me Comedy Club podcast. We're on episode 4. We're so happy you could join us again today. My name is Isaac Israel. I'm with Dillon Dilligaf.
Dillon.
And our comedian with us today is my friend Tommy Tallarino, Tommy T. He's had his own show on Fox Sports and Comedy Central, and he's toured all over the country with Ralphie May, and he's been a regular at the Comedy Store, so we're really happy to have him
Good to be here.
with us.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good to see you.
Isaac and Dilly.
Isaac.
Dilly.
Dilly. That's right.
Dilly. It's good to be here, fellas. Okay. And you got a whole crew here. We got 18 people behind the scenes. This is great. A lot of people doing a lot of work for us. There's a lot of little windows on the computer, little people in the windows. We're good.
Hey, this
well
is
supported.
That is legit, you know?
No,
this is legit.
this is excellent.
Okay, so our sponsors are the Cutting Board Restaurant. We're really happy to be here with them and having them sponsor us, and also the Blue Zone Comedy Tour.
Blue
Dillon,
Zone
can you
Comedy.
talk about that?
The Blue Zone Comedy Tour. It's our company that we try to highlight comedians with disabilities, and we're looking to do a road show around the United States. Hopefully that'll come up in the next year or so. So look for us. It's called Blue Zone Comedy Tour, and we'll be out there to make you laugh, whether you want to or not.
All right.
Dilly will put you in a headlock
You got
until you laugh.
Yeah, we'll put you in a headlock.
Yeah, so this is good. So, you guys been, you got this nice place here, right? It's, the AC is on. We're feeling good. We're feeling good now, right? This is cool.
Tommy says the AC is on because we just opened it a couple of hours ago, and
Takes a while.
yeah, it takes a while to get going. So
That's good.
we're at about 90 degrees right now in here. So
But
it's nice. It's nice.
it's
We're
a
losing
dry-
weight,
It's a dry heat, so
It's a dry-
Yeah, no, I have no problem. Listen, I've been golfing. Like your girl, Sammy here, one of your directors, she's a
Film director here?
professional golfer on the brink. So we've been talking golf. I've been golfing the last week. I was out 100 degrees yesterday. We teed off at 12 at noon yesterday. So, we did the whole round in 3.5 hours. It was great. We whipped right through it.
What's your handicap?
My handicap,
Mhm.
I'm about a 12 right now.
Nice.
Not,
Not bad, not bad.
Not bad. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. Your girl's shooting. She's even. You're a scratch golfer. See, that's not right. That's just not right.
No, that is right. She's interning for us. What are you talking
Scratch
about?
golfer should be here.
Hey,
Right.
you didn't ask about my handicap.
What's your handicap? What's your handicap when you play?
My mobility scooter.
But you overcome that.
I've overcome that. That's right. That's why
So-
they don't let me play golf.
I haven't seen you since we went into quarantine back in March.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
It's, you look good, by the way. You look fantastic. Like you got in shape during the
I've been
quarantine.
playing tennis,
Most people
working
don't
out.
do that. Most people went the other way. They just sat down and they wore a t-shirt and shorts for 3 months.
Same
And,
ones.
and then they had to go back to work or whatever it is, and then fit in any of their clothes.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell in your t-shirts and shorts, right?
No.
So, yeah.
What did you do?
I did. Well, I go to True Fusion Yoga. I do yoga, Pilates, and boot camps. So I had to do them at home, which isn't the same as the heated rooms. Because normally I do the hot yoga, but I had to do them. So I did 4 days a week.
Nice.
Like I just kept doing the online stuff at home. It wasn't as good, but I managed to do my work. I managed to get on my work, and now the studio is open again. So I'm back in the studio for the last couple weeks.
So what is fusion yoga?
True Fusion is just the name of the studio.
Oh, okay.
And I think Fusion is because there's a variety of classes. There's hot yoga classes, there's hot Pilates classes, there's those boot camps, boxing, conditioning, everything. And I try to get, I take a variety.
You keep
Nice.
inviting me to True Fusion,
I
but
do.
like the reason why I don't go is because like I've tried to do like yoga at home, and I couldn't even do it at home, let alone a room full of like
Well, you'll be better.
20 people like
You'll be
looking at me.
better in a
Trying
group
to,
setting. No one's looking at you. Don't worry about it.
everybody's doing stuff on their head, like they're like
No,
standing
you-
on their head in like yoga class.
Everyone's
what are you
at
talking
different
about?
levels.
All right.
You're better in a group setting. Trust me. You got to come just a couple times just to
Oh, yeah.
see.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I've been doing it for years.
Yeah,
I'm
you
a
like
yogi.
20 years, right?
I started in the mid '90s in LA, Venice and Santa Monica. Like I was at the epicenter,
Mhm.
and then I come out here and I'm shocked that Vegas has great yoga studios. So I've been You know, I mean, it's not what you think. It's way harder than you think. It's not like stretching and, you know, all relaxing and meditation. I mean, it kicks your ass. So, you know.
Yeah, but you're good at like all sorts of sports. I mean, it's not just yoga. I mean, you used to play college basketball.
Yeah.
And you had your sports
baseball.
show.
Yeah, I had the sports show called the Sport Jerks NBA Tour on Comedy Central, and I never played basketball. I'm 5'9", so I'm the tallest member of my family, but I'm 5'9". And I played college baseball at Cal State LA, and I played sports my whole life. I played tennis, like I competed at tennis. You and I played tennis. We got to start playing again. Yeah. You know, like
play again.
We'll go at it again. And I since I've been out here, I'm semi-retired, so I took up golf. You know, I love golf. You know, and I play anything. You know, like. I went to my son's high school graduation, and at one of the parties they had a ping pong table, and so I got into some ping pong action, and I was wiping everybody out. And my son's like, "You can play ping pong?" Yeah, of course I can play ping pong. I mean, who can't play ping pong, right?
Exactly. So one of the things we do during our podcast is we try to learn about the comics, how they got into comedy, what motivates them, where they've been, their journey, kind of like. So how about kind of giving us a little.
Well, you know, I started out like most people start out. Like my wife threw me out of the house, and I was sleeping in my car. So I just hung out at the Comedy Store for hours.
Wait, who's your wife? You got to tell the audience who your wife was.
My wife?
Yeah.
Well, she's just. What do you mean? Who was she? I mean, she, you know, Shelley Tallarino. Like she's no one famous. No one famous.
What, you're not allowed to say?
Well, I mean, I married into Hollywood royalty. I married into Danny DeVito's family, and she got sick of me after we had a couple kids, and she said, "You're not funny at all," and she threw me out. So I was sleeping in my car, and I ended up.
Like, just so you know, people in the audience out there, that's the worst thing you can tell a comedian. You can tell them you're ugly, you can tell them they have no money, you can tell them everything. But if you say they're not funny, that is the absolute worst thing that you could say to a comedian.
So I've been going strong now for, what is it, like 15 years, just to prove her wrong. That's, But that's how I got started. I had to kill a lot of time at night, so I would close the clubs. And then I got lucky. I opened for Ralphie May, so I went on tour with Ralphie May for years, which was a great experience. And then because I was working at the Comedy Store, I started opening for Pauly Shore, which was a different kind of experience. It was pretty cool. I caught Pauly toward the end of his career. Well, Paulie's a great guy and a funny guy, and it was we did the tour bus thing where we would perform in Peoria, Illinois, and then we'd get in the tour bus at like 1 a.m, and then we'd wake up like in North Carolina. You sleep. We had that tour bus thing going. It was fun.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
How long did you do that?
I worked with Pauly for about 4 years, and then I started getting better and better and better, and so it was. They didn't want me opening for them. They didn't want me opening. When your material's better than their material. Also, I was
you're too strong.
And I was getting older. I'm older now, and it's better for them to have a younger person. But I was, I would start to like really put my stamp on it. And I had my own brand, and started figuring out who I was. That's the hardest thing with comedy is figuring out who you are, and also sort of getting that out in the first 60 seconds on stage, like basically giving out, like your brand of humor. That's hard to do without telling them, well, this, I like this kind of joke. You have to basically get it out there. It's difficult.
So you got 60 seconds. How does it go?
Yeah, tell us.
Well, my first bit is where I'm from, so you pretty much know who I am.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
So where are you from, Tommy?
I'm from upstate New York, a little town called Rome, New York. That's I'm from nowhere. I'm from literally nowhere. The Rome that was built in a day. That's my oldest joke. I'm from nowhere. I'm 100% Sicilian, and I never met anyone in the mafia my whole life. Like, that's just confusing.
That's amazing. Really?
That's confusing. What the hell? I grew up in The Godfather, Goodfellas. No one's in the mafia around here. Like, there's no one.
But you've been living outside of New York longer than you have been.
Yeah,
in New
I
York,
moved to LA. Yeah, I left home.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my family, I have a couple uncles that I actually never met, because they were in prison when I was young. So my family, I guess they were like on the periphery of it. So I have family members that I never knew, and my mother got me out of there as soon as she could. So but I mean, I was into other things. Though. I was always into sports, and I wanted to live in LA.
I gotta say, Tommy, you know, every time you say the joke, it's like, it's my favorite joke. And I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but like,
That's good.
Which one?
like what happened when you came back home to New York after living in LA and then you're getting a divorce? Like, didn't you have, like, what was the because I had the same conversation with my parents about the divorce.
Yeah.
So like,
My dad.
so what happened?
Well, my parents have now been married 55 years,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think they were happy one day in the entire 55 years. I don't think my parents have ever been happy. I don't think anyone in my family's been happy. So when I went home after, you know, like everyone, you know, I had to go home and tell my parents. They loved my wife. I mean, my wife's a sweet person. You know, they loved her, and they wanted to know what happened. My dad immediately wanted details, and like, what am I going to tell them? I think she was cheating on me. Like, what am I going to say? So I told him we weren't making each other happy anymore, and then he went off for 15 minutes. Happy. Happy. Well, he was pissed. Happy. Who the hell's happy? Happy. Like. And that was the conversation for 15 minutes.
And he called your mom, and then he called your
my
mom.
mother in the room. Rosie, get in here. My mom comes in. He's like, "Have I ever made you happy?" She didn't even understand the question. She's like, "Happy? What?" And he's like, "Have I ever made you happy?" And she just spit. She didn't even answer. She's like, but no, that was the hardest thing to do, was telling my parents
Yeah.
I'm getting divorced.
Yeah.
I never gave them details. I just left it at we weren't happy.
Yeah.
My-
People. Yeah.
My parents, they would always stick up for her. We'd be in a fight, and I go with my mom and dad. They would jump on her side against me. It's like, I don't know if you had the same experience. Oh.
Yeah, I think that when we were married they did that, but once we got divorced, my parents defended me. That old Italian, Sicilian loyalty came out, and they defended me right down the line to this day. You know, because like my ex-wife and I, we basically raised two children while we were divorced, right? My daughter's 21, my son's 19. So, you know, my parents, to this day, they defend me. They're like, you know, I can't believe she did that to you. And I was like, listen.
Now you're defending her.
Yeah,
Now you're
I
defending
do.
your wife.
Well, that's what, I mean, you know, I never badmouthed her, like, to my kids or anything like that. But yeah, my parents, they're loyal to the end. And, you know, and now they're, you know, my dad's 80 now, so, you know, they're up there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna go home in August to see them, because I haven't been able to go see them this whole time because of the virus and everything. It's been weird for all of us, you know. I have tickets to go home in mid-August, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to, you know, at least get there, you know, and see them. It's been tough, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been playing tennis, I've been golfing, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've been trying to stay active, but
Yeah, they're staying in, right?
Yep.
yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're not even going to Walmart.
So your family's like taking care of them.
Yeah. Well, my brother, he tested positive for the virus. Him and my sister-in-law tested positive, so he couldn't go there either. You know, I mean, he was asymptomatic, so he was okay. But yeah, I mean, it's been tough for everybody. You know.
That's hard. That's very hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's hard for the whole country. I mean, I'm looking at your hit list here with some of the stuff that we're, you know, like some of the topics, and you know, it's funny. Our country is just. It's like it's on the brink. I mean, we're going to go to war over who's wearing the mask and who's not wearing the mask. I mean, it's ridiculous on how little it takes to set us off now.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Evan Green is here. He just arrived. Evan Green.
Evan Green, what's going on?
With the Tickle Me Comedy Club. Our regular host for the Tickle Me Comedy Club. We were just talking about coronavirus is going up. Do you want to sit in for a few minutes,
Evan? Why don't you come and join us?
Come on in.
A big
Evan,
special treat.
just for a few minutes. And,
Cool.
And Sam,
yeah.
I didn't know it was
How are you?
Superstar Thursday.
I was pleasantly surprised when I heard that you were coming. How you doing, Evan?
Good.
I looked you up online because I wanted to see, you know, like some of your background, and it says you have a perma smile on stage. That's how
I
you
do
describe
have
it.
that was given to me by a classroom of sixth graders.
Well, that's
That's
a great compliment.
That is a good compliment. I've got the card to back it up. They all signed it.
Evan does a wonderful job hosting your shows, by the way. We love the way Evan hosts them. So
Yeah, we're
I
lucky.
appreciate that, Tommy.
So-
Never have to worry when Evan's hosting.
So their director here, little Sammy, she's a scratch golfer. Did you know that?
I
was
did
telling
not
her-
know that.
I was telling
Sammy's
her.
ranked in the top 2,000 in
Yeah,
the world.
she's
Oh
ranked
my
in the
gosh.
score, and
Nice.
I was telling her that you're an excellent golfer too. How's your game? Have you been playing?
Well, if we got a scratch golf around, I'm gonna go lock my wallet up in the trunk. Yeah.
She told me she'll give me 10 strokes and a stroke a hole. She told me. And
Wait,
she
Sammy, we're
offered it.
talking about you. Get over here for a
Yeah,
second. You
call
gotta look at the
HR
camera.
about that one.
She offered it.
You don't even
Yeah.
know her that well.
So folks, this is Sammy right
Hey,
here.
Sammy,
So Sammy's an excellent golfer. She's so confident that she offered. So this, I'll give you a stroke a hole and 10 strokes. So she knows she'll kill me.
There you go.
She never even seen my
She
game.
can give you 2 strokes a hole, it wouldn't matter. You know?
Tommy, he's a natural. We went out a few times.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
a
like a beginner.
relatively newer golfer. I'm not gonna call you a beginner because you got too much.
But I am a beginner though.
But you got a lot of course management skills.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
course
the game's gotten a lot better though. I got the M4 driver, right? It's what's that?
We're twinning.
Yeah, we're twinning. I got the same drivers. I got.
Oh, okay,
265,
nice,
I hit the
nice.
265.
I don't hit it 265 a lot of the time still. I don't always hit it straight. But when I was playing with Evan, I wasn't using a driver. Remember, I couldn't keep the driver on the
You're
fairway.
using your
So
three-wood.
I got the driver now, and that thing
Fine.
that
Now you're gonna put it
I
40
just-
yards past me
yesterday,
instead of 20.
the last 3 drives of the day were just like yours, straight down the middle.
There you
Like
go.
I split the uprights on 3 drives.
But-
Second
so-
shot, you know, second
Yeah,
shot.
those approach shots are not that important. It's all about the drive, Tommy.
No,
Come on, you know
no,
that.
listen though, with the guys that I'm playing with, I'm winning all the money. Like, we're playing little dollar a hole, and I swear to God, by the end of the hole, I'm getting $36, $32, I'm winning the money.
Very good.
I'm winning the
And
money.
Very good, and you need a new group of guys
Yes.
to elevate your game.
So wait, Evan, did you ever go like semi-pro or pro or anything like that?
You know, I never had aspiration to go pro, so I came in 3rd in the Phoenix City High School Championships. I played in the Junior World Golf Tournament over in Torrey Pines, which is really a real privilege. You know, there's only 5 golfers from the state of Arizona in the 17-year-old group to qualify for that, and I got a few club championships under my belt. So that's that's nice.
He's great. Yeah. Well, I'd like to go out. We should go out again and play.
I would love that.
Yeah, Sammy, can you come out with us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right.
She's gonna
All
smoke
right.
all of us.
What tees are you gonna play from, Sammy? You gonna
One from the tips.
Really?
Really?
Oh yeah, I like that.
Really?
What did she say?
One from the
One from
tips.
the
Tips, meaning the second farthest.
Nice.
That's that's beyond the farthest. That's
Oh.
wherever the farthest is. You
Wait a
go back
second, I
as
thought
far
one
as you
in.
can.
Wait, no,
No.
one in from the tips.
One in from the tips.
Oh, one in from
Yeah,
the
that's
tips.
what I.
Okay, I thought
yeah.
you said the tips. No, one in from the tips. Okay, like about 65,
Well, she shot a
6,700
74
yards.
Reflection Bay. You shot from the one in from the tips.
I did the qualifying, the tournament yardage, which was about like 62.
Okay.
Okay,
nice.
74 Reflection
Yeah.
Bay, 6,200 yards.
That's solid.
That's-
What do you
That's
get at
solid.
Reflection Bay, Evan?
I've never played Reflection.
I wanna
Bay.
play it. Let's
I was
play
just
it.
in Lake Las
Wait.
Vegas. And
What's your best course?
what's my best, my favorite course?
Your
here?
favorite course, your favorite course.
You know, there's so many great courses in the valley. We're kind of
Good
lucky. So,
answer.
yeah, Revere, Lexington, and then TPC Las Vegas. I think are two of the most
what
challenging.
did you shoot at TPC?
I think like 75, and then in Revere I shot 70.
How about you, Evan?
That's solid. No.
What are you shooting?
I just played Revere. I was 77. Yeah, that's solid.
Lexington is tough.
Lexington is tough.
But
It's a shot
I
maker's
played
course.
Lexington a couple weeks ago, and I parred out. The last 3 holes I parred out.
Nice.
I figured out the outside 9, the first 4 holes and
Yeah.
the last 5 holes, I was 4 over. The inside 9, I was 17 over.
You lost your concentration.
I don't know what happened.
Or you were concentrating too much.
No, I lose.
What, did the drinks start hitting you?
No, I don't
Did the
drink.
drinks start hitting you?
I don't drink. I don't know what happened. I couldn't hit it. I just lose it, and then I think I squeezed the hell out of the club, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I got you.
Yeah,
All right.
but I've been working on it.
All right. Very good. All right. We're gonna make it happen.
Yes,
we're
we should play. Yes.
Jack's
very
coming.
That's right.
Yeah.
I shot a 74 at Mom's family. That's on one hole.
Well, one of the great
mini golf.
One of the
Mini
great
golf.
teachers in the game, Dave Peltz. He's a former NASA scientist.
Oh.
And he's had a huge influence on the PGA Tour for putting, chipping, and pitching.
From playing
Golfer?
Playing golf on the moon?
Yeah.
No, so what is it, because of the physics of it or something?
Well,
or?
you know, his story is kind of funny because he wanted to go pro his whole life. In fact, he was a professional golfer for a short period of time. And he grew up in Ohio. He played in the Ohio State Amateur Championship. And he has these professional aspirations. He loses the amateur championship in Ohio by 10 shots.
Whoa.
So he's thinking, you know, if I can't even win the Ohio amateur state champion, how am I going to be able to you know, really provide for a family, my wife and family, as a professional golfer? So he kind of started to phase out of it. The gentleman who beat him by 10 shots in that championship was Jack Nicklaus.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's like no wonder.
But nobody,
no wonder
knew,
he lost by 10
but
shots.
nobody knew Jack Nicklaus at that time.
Yeah.
He was just a kid from Ohio. He wasn't, you know.
They called him
that.
Fat Jack on the tour. When he first started in the early 60s, that was his nickname, Fat Jack, 'cause he was so out of shape.
He was a chubby guy.
Yeah, he was a chubby guy. And he wasn't a fan favorite because everyone loved Arnold Palmer. And Nicklaus came along and started
Right.
taking Arnold Palmer's titles. And my father told me he hated Jack at first. But then he grew to love him. Like, to this day, he loves
I
him.
think you're older than me because that was a few years before my time.
Yeah.
He knows
I was a
everything
big
about
Jack
sports.
fan, but I was too young. I was just a little bit too young for the
Well,
Army days.
I never got to see really Jack play. I maybe remember his 86 Masters,
Okay.
right, when he was 46 years old. Remember
Yeah.
1986? He was
Yeah.
46 when he won the Masters.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I ever saw him win a major. You
Okay.
know? Yeah.
The closest I came to, I caddied on the PGA Tour in 82,
Oh,
1982,
man.
1983.
Wow.
So I never got paired up with Nicholas in our group, but
Evan just pulls
we
this
were
out
in
of
the
nowhere,
Canadian
like caddied
Open,
on the tour.
and he was having breakfast one table over from me
Really?
in the clubhouse, and you know he does have an incredible charisma to him. You know,
Yeah.
when he's in a room, you know something's going
I've
on.
heard that. I've heard
Yeah.
that about him. Yeah.
Not that he's
Well,
loud, because he's not.
his kid caddied for him most of the 80s. I think one of his sons was caddying for him in the early 80s.
He did have some of his sons.
Yeah.
Well, Angelo, I forget his last name. Angelo,
Dundee, the
he-
boxing trainer. He was his caddy.
Can I tell my golf story? It's a
All right,
it's a-
go, Jack.
So I used to be a Johnny Carson fanatic. I watched Johnny Carson all the time. And this one particular night, he had Arnold's wife on, Arnold Palmer's wife. And, you know, Johnny Carson was really quick with the comeback with it. And I don't know if you guys ever saw this episode, but he asked her, and I remember this because it was life-changing for me. He says, so is there anything you do for Arnold before the game? And she goes nonchalant, yeah, I kiss his balls. And as fast as she said that, Johnny said, I bet that makes his putter stand on end. And I swear to God, she got up, she left, and you'll never see Arnold or his wife on Johnny
Oh,
Carson.
it was
after that.
she was a fan.
That was
Wow.
on the-
Oh.
that was,
And if I
yeah.
hadn't seen that, I wouldn't have believed it. But I
It was in the
was
70s.
probably 12, maybe 13 when that happened.
Funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was funny. But Johnny was amazing at the quick-witted comeback stuff. It was hilarious. Yeah, that's my golf story.
I love it. Yeah. No,
So
Jack.
who did you caddy for at the Canadian Open?
All right. Well, one gentleman who may be a little bit of the same heritage as you, but you maybe heard of him,
Heritage.
probably not though. Gary Trevisano was the main
No,
gentleman.
I never
caddied.
heard of him.
He grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
You didn't hear about him?
I never
What?
heard.
What do you-
Well, because he
what do
never
you
won
hear about
nothing.
him?
He never won a thing in his whole
Hey,
life.
we came in fourth at Quad Cities. Come
Okay.
on, come on. it's okay.
Gary Turisano, I never heard of him.
You know, he's a Fred Couples lookalike. If you saw him
Really?
back in the day, you'd swear it was Fred,
Fred Couples, yeah.
And then if you saw him swing, you go, I bet my life it's that same buttery swing.
Yeah, Freddie had a great swing and a bad back. Right?
Yeah.
Great swing and a bad back. I don't know how Freddie ever won the Masters that Freddie won. And he hit that one ball that stayed on the little hill. It didn't roll in the water. Like 99.9% of those balls would roll in the water, and somehow Freddie stayed there.
Right.
And he ended up winning that Masters to this day.
He's got
Yeah.
he's got that good karma on
To
his
this
side.
day.
He's a good guy. He's
Yeah.
really super.
Yo,
good.
yeah, he is. He's well liked.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Sammy's going to be in the amateurs next week, right? They're playing in the Nevada State Amateurs.
She showed me her swing. She's got it on the phone. It's unbelievable.
Oh.
Like, and I was telling her, Justin Thomas is like 5'8", 140 pounds,
Yeah.
and hits it 300 yards.
Yeah.
Because his swing is so technically sound, right? She's got a swing like that.
All right.
Right.
I can't wait to get out
Oh,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll caddy for you.
If I'm at the top level at Top Golf, I think I could hit it like 200 yards.
Okay. I have never done the top golf thing. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was, it really surprised me, Top Golf, because, the game of golf is, I'd say stagnant at best, and to have a company come out about golf, and it is taken off. It is a blast. I would say it's, the rock and roll bowling, how that's kind of concept,
yeah.
I mean, this is like rock and roll bowling on steroids. It's,
Yeah. So people are getting drunk.
they're
and-
getting
Yeah.
drunk,
and
there's gourmet
scoring,
food.
and you're hitting it into something and
It's-
scoring.
And then
Right?
there's a pool.
Yeah.
There's a pool there. You can
There's a
jump in
pool
the
there.
pool afterwards.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, the one in Vegas here at the MGM, they have Bonkers does comedy shows there on
Yeah.
Wednesdays, Saturdays. There's corporate events. There's beautiful bars all over. It's a big party,
Yeah.
and boy,
Well, that's cool.
yeah, you
Yeah.
got so much fun. You don't realize how much money you just spent.
Yeah. That's the whole
Yeah.
plan.
I'm
Oh,
used
yeah.
to spending $6 for a bucket of balls, and
Yeah.
lasts you 45 minutes.
Yeah,
an
yeah,
hour. You go to Top Golf, you'll be spending a few $100 an hour.
Oh, man.
Just keep hitting the button, this, that, yeah.
Ordering more food, drinks.
And that brings a conclusion to Golf Digest. So let's talk about, hey, Evan, how are you, man?
Doing good, yeah.
I haven't seen you since we did the drive-in movie thing. I loved that. That was awesome. You were an incredible host that night.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It was so much fun, and what was really satisfying is the audience feedback. I mean, we got tremendous audience feedback.
Is that the horn honking and the
The
lights?
horn honking, the lights, talking to the
That's great.
people after the show, getting, yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
it was a blast. Phil did a great job just setting up the event and getting the performers in.
Oh, he's a
keeping
master
them-
at this stuff.
It was awesome.
I mean, he does a great job.
But
Isaac, great job.
I concur with you on the feedback. I sat by the exit as everybody left, and I thanked everybody for coming, and everybody, I can't think of anybody that didn't have a positive response to how fun that was. It was awesome. For the audience, if you haven't gone to one of the drive-in comedy things, do it. It's incredible. It's very good.
Yeah, it worked out great, and we benefited charity at the same time.
Yep.
So I call it a win-win-win. Get our entertainers back on stage. Get the city involved in a real life
That's
instead
great.
of a pretend coronavirus life, and then benefit some. of the
Tommy, you'll have to
charities.
come out and do it with us.
Yeah, just let me know. I'd love to. Absolutely, for sure. You always want to perform outdoors.
Oh, yeah. so you can run.
It wasn't quite warm enough
You
for
always want to
you.
perform out there.
Yeah,
That's like,
it was only
ideally it's the
24 hours.
Yeah. Get it a little hotter at 10 at night.
Yeah, 10 at night, 185 degrees. But it's a dry heat, man.
No, I'd love to. Yes, absolutely. Just you just give me a call. I'll show up.
But Tommy, it's surprising because we thought comedians thought, how are we supposed to respond to the audience? Nobody's clapping or anything, but there are people sitting outside in the picnic tables. They brought out their lawn chairs. When people honk their horns, you get feedback, and the comedians still respond to it.
No,
They
I
still
believe
thrive
it.
on it.
I'm sure that
It's amazing.
it was right on point. And also, people are starving for laughter right now too. I mean, there's not a lot of it.
Exactly.
It's
It was
tough.
I think it was a generous, appreciative
Yeah.
crowd. We had great comedians, but
No,
as you say, people are just thirsty to laugh.
Everyone's
they want to have
home.
fun. Yeah.
Everyone's home
Yeah.
just looking. I know, like, for me starting out, like, I'm glad the quarantine's over,
Yeah.
this is good. And I know where my first bit is going to start with now. It's like, even though everything's getting back to normal, my wife is still social distancing from me, which I don't think is a good sign.
That's not social distancing.
I don't think it's a
Tommy.
good
That's
sign.
called marriage. That's not social.
I mean, there's like 10 pillows in between this bed. I'm like,
Hey, what are we making a fort? Like, what are you doing?
I tell her it's her fortress of solitude. What the heck? And she picked up a little terrier dog. Like because she's home, because my wife tours, and she's home now. So she picked up a little, she's a foster, a little rat terrier, just a little terrier, 8 pounds. And the dog, like, you know, within a matter of weeks, the dog fell in love with her, you know, and I'm there, and the dog's biting me now. I sit on the couch, and she attacks me. So we had to get a trainer out this week to break the dog in with me, but it's been 3 months. A little 8-pound terror.
So was
the
trainer training the dog or training you?
She was training my wife. She was training my wife. This is what you got to do. You know, so I'm hoping now. You know, it's a little better the last couple of days, but the quarantine was rough on me. Who got an 8-pound dog at their house that was attacking them? I couldn't go to work. Couldn't do anything.
8 pound dog. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
the name
killer.
of the dog is Cherry.
Cherry.
Little Cherry. Oh my God. And she had a cone. She had, like, because we got her from an adoption agency, so we're just fostering her. So she had a little cone, and she had some surgery. You know, she had a cone, and so then my wife did a cone campaign where she got decorating the cone every day with something different, like McDonald's French fries. Another day was a basketball with a little basket. She went to work on the cone.
Oh, I know.
Wait. So
But now you're wearing it.
No, I don't. It doesn't fit. But we were gonna put it on me when Cherry got the cone off. I was gonna be in the campaign, like.
Tommy. So Tommy, like, just like when you talk to Tommy, he drops things like he'll just say something and then he'll go on, doesn't even talk about it. But like, so his wife is the tour manager for Elton John.
Yes.
And so exactly like what's going on with it. This is like supposed to be his final tour.
Well,
right?
they're on.
So,
Yeah, they're on the farewell tour. They were
Uh-huh.
halfway through the farewell tour.
Okay.
I think it was going to be around 3 or 3.5 years, and they were halfway through that tour. They were in Australia for maybe 4 months, and she just got back on March 9th, which was by design. That's when the original tour was coming back, and she got back maybe 3 days before they closed the country down.
Wow.
So then of course they had to cancel the tour, and
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to go back on tour this year. So
Right.
you know, she hasn't been, you know, I mean, since we've been together, she's on tour 9 months a year. So you know, so she's only around for 3 months, but now it's real time. You know, she's there every day
This is
now.
your
We're just- Evan's laughing. Evan's dying.
Making poor Tommy.
Evan's dying. So you know where my act is going to go. You know where my act is going to head.
Oh, I know, and I can see you're not going to be able to play
Yeah.
golf with Sammy and I.
No, I can. You know, we're still in. You know, I mean, she's still down for everything. But
Let's say that again. Every day.
every day, yeah, she's here, and it's. I mean, I'm glad that she's home and it's safe, and you know, and she's not, because the tour is a grind. I mean, 10 years on tour. It's a tough life. You know, and it was going to come to an end anyway, but you know, so now it's, you know, there's a long break in the action.
Are they going to do Vegas again or no? It's done.
Yeah, I think they have dates.
For Vegas?
They have dates in Vegas, but not a residency like at the Coliseum anymore.
Right, okay.
In fact, he's been to T-Mobile a couple times since that residency ended.
Okay.
So
great.
I think that Vegas is on the, you know, when they're, you know, I mean, when she was supposed to go back on tour at the end of March, and she was going to be in the States.
So she managed the for Elton the $1
Yeah,
million
that's-
panel show.
yeah,
You know,
she's
my wife and I
yeah.
went to that. It was
Fantastic,
It was
yeah.
an amazing show. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. What he puts out on stage every night after night.
He's an
I mean,
amazing entertainer.
Yeah. I mean, he
Yeah.
gets that people spend their hard-earned money for it, that they're dying to see this, and even though he does it every night, he makes it special every
Well,
night.
and I think the big thing is that he's on stage for 95% of his show, which
Right.
isn't the case with a lot of those big stars. I mean, there's a lot of costume changes and things
Right.
like that. He gives you your money's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been at that show, like backstage. I mean, I've been on stage with the, you know, they bring me on stage with the tambourine, you know, the band and stuff like that.
To do comedy? Nah,
No,
play the
but on stage,
tambourine.
the tambourine
To do comedy?
playing, right?
Nah, tambourine.
Saturday, like,
I
I'm
do the
gonna-
tambourine.
You know, because they got that one big long song at the end, so they let me up on stage, and I know all the band, and you know, the entire band's 65 years old, you know, so I
Yeah.
mean they've been touring for 40 years with him, so
Amazing.
you know, yeah, it's an amazing, it's really it's a great experience.
Yeah.
So when she retires, when she's done doing it, is she going to manage you?
Yeah, well, we gotta get the thing up and running first. There's
What, the
nothing to
website?
manage right now, you know?
Gotta get
No,
your
but
website.
I have been working on my new show, you know, which is like the sequel to the Sport Jerks. I've been working on Old Men in Sweats. I don't know if you got to see the pilot episode that we did.
Not yet.
So yeah, we produced the
Tell us
pilot
about it.
episode. So yeah, it's Old Men in Sweats is basically me and my partner Barry D and Tommy T. We're both from Rome, New York. We did the Sport Jerks back in the late '90s, where we
For Comedy Central.
Yeah, for Comedy Central. It was our own show. We created it. You know, we were the Sport Jerks. We went around the country interviewing all the NBA players and, you know, basically getting a backstage pass. And this is the 20-year later when you're. What do the Sport Jerks do when they get old? We're semi-retired in Vegas.
Nice.
So this is So this is the new one. So basically, we do our interviews at my pool, you know, and we have a video cast at the sports book at Westgate, and we do, like, you know, we do parodies. Like we did our first parody was of the famous scene in Casino where De Niro and Pesci are out in the middle of the desert. So we recreated that scene, and of course I changed the dialogue. Instead of about Pesci, you know, warning De Niro that this is my town, you're here because of me, you know, the whole thing about the casino, we changed it to Eli Manning getting into the Hall of Fame or not. So basically it was me. And then it was me screaming at Barry D, he's a Hall of Famer, and I rattle off all of his stats. 35,000 passing yards, 360 touchdowns, he's a Hall of Famer, and I'll kill you. Like,
Barry D is like, it doesn't matter.
Barry
It doesn't
D was
matter.
like, I think you took what I said without a contact. So the whole thing is a recreation. And it's right in the middle of the desert, just like that scene. Only I pull up in a little, I think the little Chevy Spark, little Chevy Spark car.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's
Fun.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
So that's the show, Old Men in Sweats.
All
Is
right.
that, so where could the audience find that?
Well, we just did the pilot, and so we're pitching it, and Phil, that's something that we need to talk about too, because we want the Russian. We want
Okay.
the Russian money on that show.
Why are you looking at me? I'm not even Russian.
Phil's got all the
I'm
connections.
Filipino. Like, what are you talking about? The
Oh,
Russian
wait,
money.
Wait. Sorry, Nathan, I wasn't supposed to clap. Sorry.
No, it's not paid.
No. But I think JT's angrier than Nathan.
I'm sorry, JT. I didn't mean to do
Our
that.
remote crew.
Yep, JT is one of our infamous engineers backstage.
Yeah,
They got-
JT, Nathan, and Camille are
They
the
got-
remote crew of the podcast.
They're amazing.
Okay, cool.
They got all these people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Big time operation.
When you do something right, you
Yeah,
do it right.
no, it's-
yeah.
this is
A
well
cast
done.
of thousands behind the scenes.
This is
And we
good.
love each and every
The
one.
most important thing they did was turn on the AC, though. That's the best thing they did.
Still upset about
And what was
these.
amazing
No, it's
about
good
that-
now. It's much more comfortable.
What was most amazing about that is they did it remotely. They're not even here. How'd you guys do that?
Whoa.
Whoa, scary.
Hey, we didn't even talk about Elijah. Elijah's it's his first day
First night.
Oh, wow.
interning for the podcast team here. So
Oh, well,
we just
welcome.
threw him right into it.
Welcome, Elijah.
And
Very
our director of operations over here, Janine, is here too as well. So
All right.
Well, she's director of operations tonight.
You have to.
Go with tomorrow.
Janine, you got to talk to Janine when you're done.
We're gonna do a little talking,
Okay.
introduction, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you met Janine?
Just an hour ago. Yeah.
in the steam sauna.
Yeah. I just met her. Yeah.
Tommy, I have to tell you, we've worked together several times.
Yes.
And I really enjoy your stuff. But I gotta
Thank
ask
you.
just do a summarized version of your cousin's Mary. I love that thing.
Yeah. Like I say in my act, I've lived in LA for so long, but I've been back a million times for family, weddings and graduations and stuff like that. So I've been back for a million weddings, but there's the one wedding that I always will remember for the rest of my life was when my cousin Dino Tallarino married my cousin Maria Tallarino. They were second cousins, but they had the same last name, and that one to me was the most memorable week of my life. Because when my father told me they were getting married, I said, because I knew that they were both divorced from their previous marriages,
Right.
because they married out of the family. I guess that was the wrong idea.
How could it last?
Yeah, there's no way.
Really?
And then my father told me that Dino was marrying Maria, and I said, what? I remember I was at the beach in Venice on the phone, and I was like, what are you talking about? What? And he said, I know it's weird, but they're getting married. They fell in love with each other. I'm like, is that legal? They can't do that. So I went back for that wedding.
And what happened?
So what was the full name? What was the full
What
name?
happened at the end?
Well, that was Well, first of all, it's the only wedding you're ever going to go to in your life where when the groom lifts the bride's veil, it's the same face. It's the exact same face. Right? I mean, it was the exact same profile. I mean, the only difference was Maria's mustache was a little bushier than Gino's. No, no, but then then the final one is that when I left Maria, she was an insurance agent, and she gave me her business card. And she'd already made her new business cards, and she had her full name, Maria Tallarino.
It's hyphenated?
She hyphenated it. It's like, hey, you hyphenated it? Right, so, that's my family.
How about your cousins who were the ushers? Like,
yeah, there was only 150 Tallarinos at the wedding. There was no one else there. and my cousins, Sammy and Bobby, they were the ushers. Sammy Tallarino, Bobby Tallarino, they were the ushers. And it took us like an hour to get sat that day in church. It was like 95 degrees out. It took us an hour to get set. I went up to find out what's slowing the line down, and Sammy and Bobby are asking everybody, "Hi, are you at the bride side or the groom side?" It's like, it's the same family.
what are you talking about?
Seat us.
Yeah. To this day, every time I see one of those commercials for attorneys where it says Smith and Smith,
yes,
I think of that story.
Like my cousin's marriage. Yes.
That's
So
hilarious.
that gives you an idea. That's where I'm from, right?
So we talked
There you go.
earlier, we were talking earlier before the podcast started, and you say that all of your comedy comes from actual life experiences. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, I just, I look at my life and I see something that maybe an everyday occurrence that you don't think anything of it, but then, then I think if you look at it from a comedic point of view and you look at it from every angle, I mean, that's where I look back at my childhood and I realized that we never took a family vacation except to Buffalo. Like that's the only time we ever, I don't know why, we went to Buffalo like every summer. And so then I look back 20 years later and I'm like, oh my God. Like
there was no other choice.
There was no, I mean, what kind of family did I grow up in? So I look, it's a real life experience, and I made the whole bit about how Buffalo was our dream getaway. Like we went every year. And it was a 3-hour drive from my hometown, but my father, it took us 8 hours every year. He'd get lost every year. So I just think everyday things that you see that maybe aren't funny, but you're just like, wait a minute, why are we so weird?
Yeah, it's interesting. Now, do you have a process? Like, will you make a list of some things?
Yeah.
And then, like, what?
Yeah, you try to look at it, like it's like sort of 3D, like all the way from every single angle, from everyone's point of view.
Okay.
And then, I learned way back when you write comedy, you write it like a song. Like I don't write a whole paragraph. because if you ever read a song, if you ever read lyrics on a song, they're all one line.
Right.
So I try to write everything out, and one line, and it looks on paper it looks like a song.
Yeah.
And I think you can you edit your material quicker, and of course everything gets edited on stage.
Yeah,
I mean, that's where that's really where the true editing goes.
Yeah.
So you want it pretty lean before you bring it out there.
Right.
You don't want a bunch of fat, like then it looks like a terrible bit. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Because a lot of people, I'm relatively new in comedy. Just had my 2-year anniversary a few months ago.
Like me in golf.
Like doing golf,
same
yeah.
thing.
And I've been fortunate to have some good, some good perspective coaches. But I think a lot of people in everything, when they see somebody good, they just assume that it's like inherent in what's in their DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, they're naturally a good golfer, they're naturally a good comedian, or they're naturally a good lawyer, or whatever it is. And there usually is a method or a process or some type of methodology that really makes it, I'll call it more reliable.
Yeah.
I think audiences, they can sense that, and if you can do your comedy from real life experiences, that projects to the audience, and they know that that's coming from a real sincere place, and the more you can do that and open yourself up to what's happened to you, personal experiences, I think that's amazing.
Well, I think the word is relatable. If
Yeah.
you can make yourself relatable, whatever you're going through, or or whatever your point of view is, if the more relatable you are, no matter who your audience is, you're going to connect.
I think the best person that I can think of right now would be George Lopez when he started. You were right there when he talked about his family. That's your family.
Well, that was a big thing for me when I was watching those 1 hour specials. His first couple of 1 hour specials, they were so funny and they were so real. And the way he described his family, it made me think about my family.
Yeah, that's my family.
Yeah, I mean, and he grew up in East LA, which I grew up in, the middle of nowhere. But I started looking at it differently. I started like trying to find out where, what makes us unique. I mean, every one of my family has had heart attacks at a young age. I find that funny. Like, what kind of family? Everyone has had a heart attack before the age of 50. So I started writing it down. Like, that's funny. Like,
There's something in that.
my father had a heart attack at 61, and he was proud. He didn't get me to my 60s. Well, that's nothing to be proud of. Like that. So you start looking at your family. Like, that's where like Tallarino means angina in Italian. It's like Yeah, so you have to find the funny in your own life.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to be able to put it out, as you said, in a relatable way.
Yeah.
That folks can, people in the audience, because when they relate to what you're saying, that is very, very helpful to the audience.
Sure.
Are there things in your life, Tommy, that are so real to your life, so close to you, and you could make it super funny, but you won't say it because you're just afraid to put it out there?
Besides golf.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't. I mean, you're talking about like what people's biggest insecurities,
tragic stuff that happened, like maybe your divorce or like just like.
Well, I mean, I've made fun of my divorce. Like my kids. My kids are very close to me. I don't make much humor in my kids. And plus, when you have a divorce when your kids are young, that's tough on a family. Very tough on the kids. So I don't really, I don't go near that.
The kids,
But I mean, I usually come up with a joke fairly quickly whenever there's like a world tragedy. It's not the I don't say the joke, but like if something happens, like I'm.
It's in our nature, right? To just think
like
of
I'm
something.
finding out where the funny is, and that. So I kind of look at everything like that,
So what are you talking about now with the COVID?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that I've had some jokes with the COVID, that have passed through my mind that I just didn't latch onto, because I can never. It was funny to me, but I can't say that. I remember years ago when Katrina, like Hurricane Katrina, devastated New Orleans. I had like a joke or two within a week that I couldn't say. It's just Like my wife at the time, one of her best friends was this cute little girl named Katrina, and I thought, your name is ruined. Like, your name is ruined. And then I started thinking, when is a woman or when is someone going to actually sue the U.S. meteorologists for ruining their name? Right? That's a legitimate lawsuit. You named the worst hurricane ever after me. Like, why do I got to be associated with death and destruction?
Who's gonna marry me now? Who's gonna marry me?
I thought that. I thought, poor Katrina. She's the cutest, like, sweetest girl, and her name is Mud.
Yeah, that's a great perspective.
And
it happens time and time again,
yeah,
especially in the field of
but I thought of that quickly, and I couldn't. I mean, they were still like on top of the Superdome without any water. I couldn't say the joke, right?
Yeah.
It's like. Like the too soon thing, but everything like that, I think,
I think we all do that, and that's kind of is why we do this. Is because we look at things in different perspective, and so I mean, I've come up with some funny stuff for the COVID thing too, but too soon, right? So it's like,
well, yeah, you're real with your act and your life, yeah, and it can't be easy sometimes, you just get up there and throw it out.
yeah, and I think that's what the audience wants. They want to feel some sort of, what do you call it, relatability. They want to feel, that you're a human being. You're not just up there telling jokes. Yeah. And Evan
Absolutely.
does. Yeah. Well, I got to get compliment Evan. Evan does a lot of audience work, interacting with the audience, and he does. I mean, he can pick up on an audience so quickly. It's amazing. I think in a couple podcasts ago, I was talking about hosting, and that's one thing that I really can't. I don't like doing that. I'm not very good at it. But Evan
Crowd work, really?
What?
You don't like
Well,
doing crowd work?
hosting.
Yeah.
Hosting. Okay.
Yeah, I think that with you, I saw you early on.
You had something to do, like in the middle of podcast?
Yeah,
you pick up your phone?
I
do you know how much this podcast
I
costs?
do have to run.
Look
I'm
at
sorry.
this
I
guy.
do have to
These
run.
New Yorkers.
That That, ladies and
New
gentlemen,
York,
that was Tommy
this
Tallarino.
is Hollywood right here, Hollywood slash New York. He's like,
Well,
oh, let me get a
Evan
phone.
has
Hey,
the other thing. We talked about relatability, but Evan also has the likability. And I
Yeah.
remember telling you when I first saw you, just let the audience like you.
Yeah.
You know, because they gotta like you. I mean, you know, so that's a big thing for you.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
the
you
perma
do.
smile works for
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
that'll only take you so far, though. You gotta have
No,
some.
Yeah,
exactly.
you gotta have
I've actually
material.
been working on getting rid of it during when it's appropriate to get rid of, you know, for certain punchlines.
Yeah.
And you would call it forecasting my punchline.
Yeah, yeah. You're
Yeah.
telling the audience, here comes the joke. Here it's
Yeah.
coming. Here it's coming. Here
Ta-da,
it's coming.
ta-da.
Yeah, you're
It's like, no, you're laughing already. We can't laugh at the joke.
Come on,
Yeah.
I like this one. You'll like it too.
But I actually do need to run.
Oh,
You have to get going?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
you
okay,
need to
cool,
go,
cool.
Okay.
All right.
Is that cool?
yeah, I think we're just
I
about
mean,
coming to the
Well,
end
we
of
did,
our
yeah,
we did
podcast.
10 minutes of the
Yeah.
podcast and an hour
I know,
and
right?
50 minutes of setup.
So this is.
Put the air conditioning warm up, cool down. Yeah.
Air conditioning hasn't come on yet, but
I'm good though. So
Yeah.
So let's do a close.
All right.
And so we really appreciate you guys sticking with us for this time. It's been a great experience. Tommy Tallarino is the best. If you ever get a chance to see him out on stage, you will laugh your butts off, I promise. And come down to the Eclipse Theater when we get back going again, or if we do another drive-in comedy thing, you will not be disappointed. It's awesome. So on behalf of myself, Dillon Dilligaf, and the Blue Zone Comedy Tour, I'm with Isaac Israel, Tommy Tallarino, and Evan Green. We say good night. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
And,
All right, cool.